Salute, salute, salute. This is Boxing Nocturnal Thoughts coming at you with a real quick video that I'm getting out y'all way. Just want to talk about Shawn Porter. Showtime Shawn Porter, man. He just did an interview with Brian Custer, the Last Man Standing podcast. And it was a very interesting conversation. They talked about his career, his ups, his downs, his fights with Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Terrence Bud Crawford. He fought everybody in the welterweight division, damn near. You know what I'm saying? He fought the best of the best. Now, he came up short in a couple of fights, but he was victorious. All his fights are always razor thin. Yordenis Ugas was razor thin. You know what I'm saying? Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, besides Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, those two guys have really separated themselves from the pack. Now, two things that he said that I thought was interesting. He said that Terrence Bud Crawford was his toughest fight he ever had. Not the Kell Brook, not the Errol Spence, not the Keith Thurmans, or the Danny Garcias. Another thing he said was his best performance was his performance, in his opinion, and you can't tell him his opinion. It's him in the ring that's fighting. I'm not going to argue his opinion. I'm just going to say my opinion on my platform, and I respect his opinion. But he said in his opinion, his best performance was against Errol Spence. Now, I'm in mind that Shawn Porter still has a little bit of a grudge against Errol Spence and still has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder for whatever reasons with Errol Spence. Even Errol Spence on the on Shawn Porter's podcast says, "Hey man, you be hating on me, man. A little bit, you be hating on me." And Shawn Porter kind of admit, "I can't help it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like that oil and water, but some things just don't mix. You know what I mean? And some people just not gonna never like each other. And I don't think Shawn Porter and Errol Spence can really get along. You know what I'm saying?" So he said his best performance was against Errol Spence. Now, he lost against Errol Spence. Can you have your best performance in a loss? That's arguable, because some people believe that you can have your best performance. Like, I do believe you can. I believe you can have your best performance and still come up short and lose. Now, me, in my opinion, I would say that his best performance would be in a victory, like against Andre Berto. In my opinion, the best version of Shawn Porter was against Andre Berto. And maybe even against Adrian Broner. Even though he got caught and got knocked down, his best performance to me was against Andre Berto. His second best performance was against Adrian Broner, you know, in my opinion. And Danny Garcia, I think Danny Garcia edged that fight. I think Yordenis Ugas edged that fight. But the thing about it is, he's always in very, very close nip and tuck fights, murky waters. And you have to really go through there and dissect and analyze round by round some of the things that happen in a Shawn Porter fight. He's a barometer. He's a truth machine. He's a little Tasmanian devil. He's a little Heathcliff. Remember that cartoon Heathcliff? That little cat getting a fight. He's an alley cat. He getting a fight, be kicking up dust, and you just see fists and feet coming out of the dust. And then we got to see what happens with the dust settle. One of them got a, you know what I'm saying, a patch over the eye. The other one got a little crutch. He walking on a cast on his leg, and Heathcliff is coming through picking his teeth. You know what I mean? So Shawn Porter is that type of fight where it's always going to be confusion and a lot of, like I said, it's going to be an action-packed clusterfuck of a fight with Shawn Porter. But he says when it comes to Terrence Bud Crawford, it was just different. Terrence Bud Crawford was just so different, man. Just so different. I don't think Terrence Bud Crawford was that much different than his other fights. And I really think he was different in that fight. I don't think he trained as hard. I think it was a friendly competition for him, and it was a farewell fight. And I think it was a power struggle going on between him and Kenny Porter, where, you know, really it was like Shawn Porter is really just coming into his own and being his own man, and it was kind of time for him, if he wanted to kind of get a different relationship with his father, he had to stop boxing too. I really appreciate Kenny Porter for what he was able to accomplish with his son. I love to see fathers train their sons and get him to the top of anything in life, period. So I never can disrespect Kenny Porter, no matter what his methods are, even if I don't agree with them. But at the end of the day, I think once you become a man, you got kids and everything like that, you just can't have somebody dominating you like that and controlling your every move, and you know what I'm saying, playing you like you are puppeteer. You just can't have that. You got to cut the strings. You got to cut the umbilical cord. You got to become your own man. But anyways, I kind of rambled. I lost my train of thought. I apologize. This is a box of nocturnal thoughts. My thoughts, I'm not taking notes. You know, I do my thoughts, and they can go like this. You dig? So do you think that you can have your best performance in a loss? Some people do think that. Some people think, for example, Adrian Broner, best performance was in his loss against Marcos Maidana. And I get it because he did show a lot of grit and heart, but that's not what stand out to me for Adrian Broner in the Marcos Maidana fight. What stand out to me was three things. One, he spent Marcos Maidana around and started humping on him. That showed me a lot about Adrian Broner's mentality. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but that was one thing that I thought was just peculiar. Two, when he got hurt the second time and he tried to lock up his arms, he tried to lock up Marcos Maidana's arms, and Marcos Maidana headbutted him. Adrian Broner wasn't hurt that bad, but then when he seen the opportunity to take a little breather, he was going, and he rolling around all on the ground, and that showed me I knew things about Adrian Broner from that damn theatrical rolling all on the ground. I knew that Adrian Broner would be what he is today based off of that. That's what that exposed to me. It exposed that he got a hell of a chin, and he got a heart, and he a fighter, and he a dog, and he was fighting against a big, strong guy. But when he got hurt and he was rolling all over the ground, and then he was humping, and then the third thing that stands out in that fight to me, and always will, is when Marcos Maidana turned the tables and was humping on the back of him. I knew what we was going to be dealing with from Adrian Broner up until today's date. So I don't think that was his best performance. Some people think that was Adrian Broner's best performance. In my opinion, it wasn't. His best performance probably was with like Paulie Malignaggi or something. But let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Was his best performance against Errol Spence? Was his toughest opponent ever Terrence Bud Crawford? Or was it Kell Brook or Errol Spence or Keith Thurman? Salute, salute, salute. Bow. Peace.